This one is very similar to the last section, which is adding and subtracting, solving those equations. Now we're doing multiplying or dividing. We've got the multiplication property of equality. In other words, if you take one side of the equation, you multiply it by a number, and you take the other side and you multiply it by the same number, the sides stay equal. Okay? For example, 50 equals 50. That's true. If I take the left side and the right side and multiply both by 2, I still get the same answer, right? We did, but we did it with adding and subtracting. So, when we think of a coefficient, it's a math word for the number in front of a variable. For example, this 3 here is the x coefficient.
Should it be 7? X what?
So the 3 that's in front of the x is the coefficient to x. The 7 here is the y coefficient. So if I said, on the next example, what is the coefficient to x?
It's 2.
2. What is the coefficient to y?
4.
4. So the number directly in front of. Okay. Technically, we should change the y coefficient though. What do you notice about that equation?
It's subtraction.
It's subtraction. So what should our 4 be? It should be a
2.
-4. Because this right here. Okay?
So it's pretty much -4 times whatever minus.
Nope. Remember, this is the same as plus a negative here. You remember? A subtraction is like adding a negative. So that negative goes with that 4.
But that's a minus sign.
Yes, they're the same symbol.
Wait, is it saying -4? Is it saying -4?
So it's saying 2x minus 4y. Or it's saying 2x plus a -4y. They mean the same thing. So that's why the y coefficient. Please stop.
So if there's ever a minus, you just make a plus?
You just change the number after it to a negative and make it a
No,
plus?
so look, okay. So the coefficient to y is a -4. This is the number that's directly in front of the y. Would you agree? It's a -4. -4 and -4 mean the same thing.
Okay.
So you would do, if you would have to do the problem, it would be 2 times x minus negative, or plus -4?
Plus -4 times y.
So,
Okay.
here's my.
And what we said before is when you have a plus and negative, it's the same as subtracting.
Mhm.
So you're going to have 2x subtract 4y. Okay? But the coefficient is the negative
So if
number.
you're trying to find the coefficient, then you make it negative.
Then you take this with it.
Yeah. But if you're doing the problem.
In this one over here, it's a plus sign, so it's just 7 is the coefficient, not -7, right? Because it's a plus sign here. It's a +7, a +3. This is a +2 and a -4.
But then,
Okay.
but then when you do the problem, you make it plus.
It's just understanding what's in front of the number. Okay? So kind of do the multiplication, then make it negative type thing. All right. So solving for a variable. Okay, this is the important part that we need to figure out. Look at what was done to the variable and do the inverse, which is opposite
That's not mathy.
operation to, and I'm going to scream at you here, both
Sides.
sides
I don't.
of the equation to get the variable all by itself.
I didn't know.
You didn't want to scream at your notes? So 7x equals 42. What's happening to x?
It's multiplied by 7.
It's getting multiplied by 7. So what would we do to it then? We do the
What do you do divide by 7? It's 7
we
times
divide by 7. Divide by 7. So x equals 6 I heard, so these 7s cancel. 42 divided by 7 is 6.
What if we don't?
Okay, so what's happening to this x?
It's being -2.
It's being multiplied by -2. So you're going to divide by -2. Divide by -2. These cancel. You get x equals,
Erica, you always have your calculator. Yeah, it's in my brain. No, I'm kidding.
so what do we know when we divide by a negative? Our answer is going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative answer. So then we just do 154 divided by 2.
60. It's 62. Is it actually?
Negative 52.
I wouldn't have got that.
77. So 75 times 2 is 150. So you got to get 2 more or 4 more there. So this is where they start to get a little tricky because we have these fraction things. So as you think about this, I've got the same example 2 ways, okay? So we're going to do the left side first. What's happening to the x is it's being multiplied by 1/3. So we'd have to divide by 1/3 and divide by 1/3. That's kind of tricky to do.
So can you put it in decimal form?
So 42 divided by 1/3 is 126. Would you like an easier way to do it?
Yeah. Wait, 40.
They were
How
talking
did you
about the
add?
homework yesterday, and I
You
don't know, I
added
put in random numbers.
Divide.
So,
Well, they were easy to take.
Think about,
0.25.
do you remember how to multiply fractions
No.
from last year?
Yeah, you go straight across.
Straight across. So
Right.
if I wanted to do 1/3 times x,
42?
no, if I just want to do 1/3 times x,
Over.
what's on the bottom of x to make it a fraction?
1.
1. So if when I multiply this, I just get x divided by 3. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So can I change this problem to x divided by 3 equals 42?
Yes.
No, yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what 1/3 is.
1/3 times x is x over 3. So now what's happening to x?
It's getting divided by 3.
So what's the inverse?
Times by 3. No, 3x.
So now we'll times by 3.
Yes.
And times by 3 is x equals 126.
No. Hopefully there's not too many of those.
So when you have a fraction,
Have you heard M?
you can multiply your fraction to get a division problem instead. So,
Yeah.
so there are 2 ways to do it. When you look here, it says 1, 3, 5, 7 through 26. Show your work for credit. That's on 7 through 26. I'm looking for that work just like we did up here. You'll rewrite the problem. What did you do to it? And then your answer.
So exactly the same.
So exactly the same as yesterday, but now you're solving for multiplication and division problems.